Welcome back to Flywheel Films, and welcome to a beautiful sunny day in Colorado. It's usually sunny here, but when it does rain, the occasions that it does rain, I'm glad I have my hard top. But not everyone has hard tops. A lot of people have soft tops. There's a lot of perks to soft tops, better selection of roll bars, better weight, but 6 in one hand, half dozen in the other, I guess. A lot of pros and cons to each. One con is if your top starts leaking in the rain, that's a bit more of a common problem. Because I don't have a soft top, I'm gonna hand it over to Manny.
What's up, guys? So yeah, here's my Miata, the soft top. Just as Jordan mentioned, if it rains and you have a soft top and you have any holes, well,
good luck.
So a lot of people suggest if you have holes, fix or repair the soft top or replace it. I've looked up quotes online. I've looked at the forums. People are talking $500–600 just to buy a new soft top. And if you're taking it to a shop, you're talking $1,100 to $1,500. It's a lot. And so I've come up with a personal solution to fix the soft top, or repair the soft top, I should say. Repair. If you look over here, this is my solution. So you can see this kind of mesh here, that's threading, and then I used adhesive or vinyl adhesive to fill in the threads, reinforce the threads, and seal up the soft top. I've done it in a couple spots already. This was about 6 months ago, and it's held. So what we're thinking about doing is showing you guys my process to do that, and just and kind of walk you through it here and there. So if Jordan's heading on to that side, you can already see what we're going to be repairing today.
Let's see what's in this hole. Okay.
All right.
The actual holes.
So you'll see a couple. There's this major one, and then we've got a couple here. This is along the stitching is ripping. Got a couple here. These are pretty easy to repair and pretty quick. When it comes to longer or bigger holes, it does take a little bit more work.
Right.
So we're going to show you guys the basics on how I repaired some of these bigger holes. It's the same thing in practice here for some of these longer ones, and it's even easier to do these, but we'll be focusing on just this one for today. And yeah, we'll walk you through that now. Okay, so these are the 3 tools, I guess you could say, that we use. This is instant vinyl from, what's that say, Dritz. I got it from Amazon. I think it's pretty cheap, about 15 bucks, not that much. This is what we need. Some needles. You're gonna wanna look for ones that have a curve just like this. These are the best ones because when you go in, you want to be able to hook and come back around easily. When they're long like this, you have to kind of finagle the soft top, and it could rip additional holes, so we want to avoid that entirely. And last but not least, really strong thread. You don't want to get super thin thread, because if it's too thin, it'll actually be like a kind of like a knife, and it will cut through the top. So the thicker, the better.
Right.
And also stronger, so we don't want this stuff to break after we've done it. Like I said, I did that 6 months ago. It's held up. I put the top up and down all the time. It still has yet to rip. So seems like it's going to work for a long time. So the thicker, the better.
So what you're essentially doing, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're basically sewing a lattice, and then on top of the lattice, adding the vinyl, which is the waterproofness of it. Like sewing it would kind of fix the look, but it wouldn't really add any water resistance. So that's where the instant vinyl comes in, and then I guess painting it is what turns it into the color you want.
Exactly. Do we have the paint here somewhere? So, and this is the paint, which we won't be doing the actual painting, at least immediately right away. I'll shoot a clip of that later. But I got this from Home Depot. I think This was like $11.
Perfect.
Not that much. And you want the exterior fabric, vinyl, leather, rugs, more, whatever. There are a couple different kinds. You're gonna want to make sure you get this one. This is the best one that I've seen.
Nice.
All right, let's do this.
Okay.
All right. So to start off, you're going to want to grab your curved needle, and my philosophy is that you want to poke holes along the tear on the outside, usually maybe at least half an inch, at most an inch away, because you don't want to get too close to the edge, because it could without having enough material in between, it could rip again. So around this, I'm going to start holes in about this area here. I'm not going to be too close here because I don't want this to rip further. So I'm going to be a little bit further back. So what that means is that your repair will take over more surface area than the hole actually is, but it's gonna ideally be able to hold long term.
Right.
Now, when you're doing this, you want the soft top to be a little bit loose so that when you go to close everything, that's when it gets tight. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pop this open and just leave it like that. That's all you need. Just a little bit loose so that this now has enough movement. And yeah, because if it's too tight, it kind of makes things a little tough.
Makes sense.
All right. So now I'm gonna just go ahead and start preemptively making holes. So I'll start my first one here. Just go straight through, wiggle it a little bit. And it's a little bit hard to see. I can see, I don't know if you guys can see it from here, but it's really, really small hole now. It kind of shrinks after you've ran the needle through, but it's there. So I'm gonna do that all the way around, and then we're gonna bring the thread and thread through everything with a mesh. So essentially what we want is to run a threaded mesh like this, and then afterwards we're gonna squirt some of this stuff right in between to strengthen up the threads and create that seal.
There we go. All right, well, we'll keep checking in throughout the progress, show the viewers, ladies and gentlemen, what's happening, but this should be fun. And clearly, yeah, I'll go give them another look. Now that they know the process, you guys can see the final result over here, and looks really good. Like, from a distance, you don't really even notice, which I think is kind of the goal. Obviously, it doesn't look quite as pristine as a new top, but it's also a lot of money less. We just had some bomb burritos, and that's a lot of burritos you saved by not buying a new top.
Right, seriously, yeah. This is for everything here. I think you're talking maybe $50,
right?
Which is a tenth the price of getting a soft top yourself, and like 100th the price of actually having somebody do it for you.
Right.
It's a lot cheaper. So, yeah.
We'll link everything below just in case anyone's lost. But that way, it's pretty easy for you to do on your own soft top, and us hard top people can learn about it.
Some disclosures I would like to mention real fast. My car is garage kept. It's in the garage 99% of the time. Maybe I'll leave it out once a month, maybe. So if your car is always in the sun, I don't know if this is gonna work. Or at least it probably will work. I don't know if it's gonna last as long as mine has.
Right.
The sun like really stops this instant vinyl from what's it called? Curing. Yes. It kind of messes with that. And I will mention as well, for about the first 2 weeks, anytime you do go out into the sun, you're gonna smell vinyl. So just expect it. It's a little stinky, but it's really not that bad. You put the windows down and it's fine. But yeah, I just want to mention that as a disclaimer. So if you try this, it doesn't work because you park your car outside. Don't look all mad in the chat. We don't.
Your
care.
results may vary. And if you have other options you've found, I mean, leave them in the comments. We like to have chats down there and just see what works for different people. But it seems like Manny found the solution kind of from comments. I mean, forums and stuff. It works for some people, so that's pretty cool to try it on yourself. And yeah, feels good too. Holy moly, Manny, how are the holes coming? I just had to.
So yeah, we've made all the perforations in preparation for the threading. You'll notice, so you can kind of see these indentations here where you see this inside lip.
Yeah, right.
It's like there's like double leather there. You're going to want to utilize those areas as extra strength, I guess you could say anchors, to make sure that everything kind of holds in. The actual process for making the holes is, for example, like let's say this hole wasn't here. I kind of put it all the way through until it gets to the thickest part of the needle, and then I give it a little jiggle, and then pull it out, and it'll stay like that.
Right.
And did all that all the way around. So now I'm going to take a whole lot of thread. You're going to want to use way more than you think. I would say at least 6 feet, because it's better to have some left over at the end,
right,
rather than be halfway through and realize, oh man, I should have put more. One thing to mention as well, don't be afraid to really move this around as much as you need to. I thought I would just have to leave it here, but there were a couple times I had to move it back here and all that stuff just to kind of get the needle in there. And when you're doing this as well, you'll notice my soft top, this thing is supposed to hold at this point is a soft top down whenever it goes down, so it's supposed to fold like this.
Right.
But that's broken entirely. So just make sure you don't thread through this thing. I'm probably going to cut this out.
Yeah.
Just make sure you don't thread through that when you're
I'll try to see
when you're
the
putting
other
it
side of it.
Yep. All right.
Cool.
So we'll update you guys along the threading process.
I know my mom's watching and she loves sewing, so she'll be really into this video.
Shout out to mom. So I've got us stitched up, and we pretty much just went from nothing there to all of a sudden it's done. But essentially, yeah, I kind of just used all the holes. There were some times where I just made new holes because I couldn't find the holes, so I just kind of go straight through. And then I just did a bunch, crossed over multiple times, used some holes. You'll see if you look at, for example, this one here, there's a thread that goes in and out. So don't be afraid to use the same hole just to kind of keep everything as straightforward as possible. But I just went over as many times as I could to really create that mesh figure we were talking about. Afterwards, I just tied it off and cut it off with, what is that, razor?
Yep.
And for how I threaded this in here, I basically put the doubled loop straight in and then folded it over itself, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Kind of like one of those infinity knots. Anyways, okay, so that's done. What we're going to do now is I'm going to get tape. I'm going to put it on the inside, just sit it right under like this. Then I'm going to close this and latch it.
Right.
And then I'm going to take the vinyl and just start squirting it into the empty space here.
So now you bring it taut, latch down.
Taut, latch down, yes.
So you can do it when it's in its full stretched out position.
That's right. And then just put this vinyl right in there and make sure that you get the vinyl all the way up to the holes and make sure that all the threads are completely submerged in this vinyl, and that reinforces them. So I'll show you guys a clip of that in just a moment once I've got that going. You might need tape. Well, okay, you don't need this part, the tape or this towel, but I think it's a good idea. Otherwise, this stuff is really, like, when you pull it away, it might have a long strand and it'll get on it. So just to avoid that, might want to tape off and use this. But if you use a bunch of tape, you probably don't need these towels. It's just a thing. So sometimes I'll wipe it off here just to minimize it getting anywhere else.
Nice.
All right, so now we've got our vinyl. What I'm going to do now is essentially, so you'll see the tip, it's very small. You can essentially just insert this inside of the mesh and squeeze and it'll open up. One thing I want to mention before we do that is on the inside, on the bottom side, I put tape where I took two pieces of tape and put them together, so neither side here is sticky.
Okay.
I have it sitting like this on the inside, and then and it's taped up against the top of the soft top, so that this vinyl, it is a little runny, so that it doesn't fall down onto the seats or inside the cabin. This is there, squirting in, yes, okay. And so now the next step is essentially to just cover this whole area in some of this vinyl. You'll see me do this. This I kind of just do by ear, apply it as I go. So for you guys, just apply as you go. You'll kind of get a feel for it, how liquidy it is and everything. You'll be able to see for yourself, and just use your best judgment while you're doing this, because at this point we're just completely flying on our own.
We're winging it.
Yeah.
That's all right.
All right, so we've got the vinyl applied. You'll see how it kind of, it's sitting on top of everything right now, and it's all within all of the internal passages, I guess you could say, of the mesh. Once it cures, it will shrink. The same way you see how once you go, if you go to that side, you'll be able to see how the threads are showing more. Here you can't see the threads, but there you can. It's gonna shrink into itself, and so if it looks like this now, that's totally fine. Later on, it'll look like that. You'll be able to see the threads interlocked as well and everything. And once you see that, that's how you know. Once you're at this point, you're pretty much done. You just have to let it cure.
Bro, you're so clean. There's like a tiny little drop on one piece of cloth.
I try my best. So yeah, it really at this point, all you have to just do is let it cure, let it sit. Ideally not in the sun.
Right.
You want to be in a garage, on a carport, or maybe cover it with something so that it's not in direct sunlight, because it will only cure well not in direct sunlight.
So in this case, let's say someone hypothetically went to their friend's house to install it, like you may have done, and then had to drive home. What would your recommendation be?
My intention now, luckily it's not super sunny right now, but a little sunny, but I'm just going to cover it with some tape and just drive home very carefully.
You talking like the double tape, like the back side where it's
right,
not sticky?
the same kind of thing. I'm gonna double side everything, and I'm gonna kind of cover it a little bit like this.
Nice.
So that this isn't affected by any dirt or anything like that. And once I get home, it'll stay in the garage.
Sweet.
Now, once it dries, it's gonna turn into it's like a clear substance right now, but it's gonna turn yellowy very quickly within about a day. And that's why you're gonna want to use this paint, because otherwise it's going to look really bad. So make sure that you use the paint. When you use the paint, only do one coat. If you do 2 coats, it looks shiny. Okay? Just 1 coat. If you do 1 coat, it's going to have a matte finish just like this. 2 coats is going to look shiny like this, which you don't want. Which I did mess up on that side. I learned my lesson. And when you do paint it, make sure you tape it off the same way like this again, with, if anything, with more tape or with more surface area covered, because you don't want any of this paint on any of your soft top components.
Right.
At this point, we're pretty much done. Just gonna let this cure. Takes about 24 hours. I've considered at some points reapplying, but as of right now, I think I did enough for now.
Makes sense. So yeah, we'll pick up, I guess Manny can pick it up and show you guys what it looks like after. But as of right now, I mean, it looks fairly, mostly done. Obviously, like you said, when it dries, it'll probably change the color. You don't want, hence the paint. But at the moment, you can get a gauge on what it looks like, plus using this as another example. So,
right,
not too bad.
Yeah. So, try it yourself. If you guys do this and you figure out any tips, any tricks that you figured out along the way, put it in the comments. We would like to know. Again, this is not a perfect fix, but it's better than water, snow, anything getting inside you, especially when your wife is sitting in the passenger seat. So.
Right. Okay, so Manny's gonna head out of here, and dude, I can't wait to see the other side looking like this side. This side is like water just sitting out.
Yeah, water just bouncing right off. See, George, this is the shit that I'm talking about. All right, so it's been roughly about a week since the last clip you saw. We are here now at my garage, at my place, and I'm getting everything finished up. There are a couple things I had to do off camera that I just wasn't able to record, but I'm just going to fill you guys in on the final steps on just getting this all squared away, making it look as nice as we can. Gave it a quick test spray there. That was just maybe 1 or 2 passes, but we're just going to go ahead and spray this section here. That looks pretty good. Just going to give it a couple more. All right, so that's pretty much it. We're gonna give that 5 minutes to dry. We're not gonna recoat it. We're just gonna leave it with that 1 coat, and I'm gonna take off all the paper towels and everything, let it dry. I'm gonna go on a quick drive, give it some wind, but that really is it. I'm not gonna be doing any more than that. All right, we just did a couple quick passes on the vinyl repair that we did. Just maybe it was 1, 2, 3, 4. Quick rest, 5, 6. When you spray, you don't want to start directly on it. You want to start to the side and give it a spray over, start to the side and give it a spray over. Don't start right on the direct spot that you're wanting to hit. Just make sure that there's less splatter. The first initial press will kind of give a quick splatter, where afterwards when you're moving, it's a lot more uniform. So to avoid any sort of splattering, generally a better thing to do. Ultimately, the results may vary. This is what we're left with afterwards. As you can see, there were a couple of places right outside the border where I didn't put tape right up to the vinyl, where as of right now it's still drying, so it is still a little reflective. I think ultimately it still might be reflective overall in the long run, but this is really just to hide that yellowness that you all had seen. I'll give you guys an update once everything's fully dry, but everything looks pretty good so far. It's been roughly about 5 minutes since I started to let it dry. It's still looking a little shiny. I've got a light right up here, got some light out there. They're all shining in quite a bit. To the eye, it's really not that shiny. So you just, if it should look shiny initially, just give it a second and it should be fine. But yeah, that is pretty much it. Now we're just gonna take this on a drive, regularly put the top up and down and let this kind of settle. I still got the tape, as I showed you guys. It's still there on the inside. I'm gonna leave that there for a while just to make sure that there's something on the bottom, so there's nothing wearing on the bottom, but I'm just gonna leave that there to sit for quite a while. All right, you guys, that about wraps up the video. Links for the instant vinyl threads and needles will be in the description below. If you have any suggestions that would have made this repair better, let us all know so we can all learn. If you have any questions at all, post them below, I'll answer. And let me know what you think I should do to my Miata next. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys later.